Where are these coming from now?
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to call to order the regular meeting of the Board of Aldermen for June 11th. Please rise to the pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Alderman King.
Here.
Alderman Stone.
Here.
Alderman Fritz.
Here.
Alderman Vaccaro.
Here.
Alderman Cassetti.
Here.
Alderman Philippone.
Here.
Alderman Dempsey.
Here.
Alderman Kaslaitis.
Here.
Alderman Yellman.
Here.
Alderman Rivers.
Here.
Alderman O'Brien. Alderman Short.
Here.
Alderman Blackwell. Alderman DeLiva.
Here.
12 present, 2 absent.
Declare quorum. I've had consideration of previous minutes from May 14th, 2019, the regular full board meeting. Motion to approve. Mr. Short, seconded by Mr. Dempsey. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Also, approval of the joint meeting on June 6, 2019, between the Board of Apportionment and Taxation and this board. Can I have a motion to approve those minutes? Mr. Rivers, seconded by Mr. Cassetti. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Okay, public session. Would anyone from the public wish to speak? Would anyone from the public wish to speak? Third and final call. Would anyone from the public wish to speak? Mr. Mazzanti, please come forward. Name and address, please.
Edward Mazzanti, 21 Castle Lane. I brought it up in April about the Division Street Hill, and I was told it's going to get fixed soon. How between the Division Street Hill and Persian Drive, you got a gully there, and it seemed like it's not getting nowhere with those two dips. And on top of Division Street, they should put a sign there, do not block the intersection, because the other day, that whole intersection was all backed up. When ambulance ever had to come through there, they never went through there. Cars were bumper to bumper going across. They never made it. And on High Street, like they cut that in half, change that to Howard Tinney.
Okay, thank you. I know you want to go to the police commission meetings. Did you bring that up to them? Ed?
What?
About Division Street?
Now, I been bringing it up here because they ain't getting nowhere with the other person I've been calling. I've been calling the other person. He promised me in April he's going to get done, and it's getting worse and worse. It's not a police commissioner issue. It has to come here. The road is being sunk. Okay, and it has to get redug up and everything. The sign up there needs to get put up a sign, do not block the intersection, because you got one over by Franklin Street.
The two dips at the bottom of Division Street.
Right.
Cumberland Farms.
Right.
You have to go to state DOT because it's a state road.
That's on the city road though.
He just said that.
It's on the city road.
So we go to state DOT
Why is that?
because it's a state road.
No, it's not.
Chief, is that city or state?
If it's the hill, I don't think the hill is. Division is another route to 127 or something like that.
The city plows one side and Derby plows the other side.
Ed, could you let the policeman talk, please? As I can hear.
So I don't believe, on the hill, I believe it's the city's.
Okay.
We'd have to check, but Pershing Division from Main Street comes down and it turns north and south on Pershing. That's a state road. I don't think the hill is.
Thanks, Ed. Would anyone else from the public wish to speak? Would anyone else from the public wish to speak this evening? Please come forward. Name and address, please.
Yeah, Harry Danley Jr., 52 North Cliff Street, Ansonia, Connecticut. Ready? All set?
Sure.
I just have a few questions. I don't know if Mr. Vaccaro, if you can answer them, or Mayor.
Now, this isn't, we don't answer questions here, but you can, certainly say what's on your mind, Harry.
Okay, so I know I've been to a few Alderman meetings, and I think some questions were answered. I don't know what it would make it any different tonight for 2-3 minutes just to get some answers.
You say what's on your mind.
Yeah, all right. Just a few things. I'll make it brief. Number one, Mayor Cassetti and Laura Vaccaro, you guys have been here for approximately 5.5 years. I was just wondering, a question that I have is, how much money was in a general fund when you guys took office? And how much money is currently in the general fund right now? Approximately. Just, Mayor Cassetti, could you answer that for me?
No, we don't answer questions here, Harry. Just, you can say what's on your mind, and I'm not going to answer any
At the
questions.
finance office and get all that information.
Okay. All right, and then another question I have is, Nolan Field, a few years ago, the residents approved the complex there, the clubhouse, of taking care of the bathroom and showers there, and that hasn't been taken care of, and that's been probably 3-4 years. I was just wondering what the story was with that, and if there was money given to that, and if there was, where is it, or why isn't it done yet?
You can come in and see Sheila.
Okay, jeez. Wow, I'm getting far tonight with you, huh?
Yep.
All right, well, here, all right. Obviously, I can see you're not going to, okay. Well, I just have one last question. This is for the mayor. All right, Mayor, I was thinking about, you know, I read a lot on Facebook and in news and local papers, and, you know, we're trying to save money. And this year, obviously, you have to go up on taxes come July 1st. Not a lot, but you have to go up on taxes. So obviously, things are a little rough in the city. And, well, since 2 meetings ago, which it was printed in the paper, I personally live here and I work for the Public Works Department, City of Ansonia, which it was put in the paper, so I'll make it known again. Well, Mayor, I'm thinking, I was thinking today, I'm willing to give back my raise come July 1st, me personally. Okay, I was wondering if you were willing to go along with it with me. Would you give back your raise if I'm willing to give back my raise?
If you pay attention to my speech the other
Yeah.
day, I'm giving back my raise.
Okay,
Okay,
I'll
we're not
take-
going to have any engagement back and
No,
forth.
okay, all right.
Point of
Well,
order.
no, I
Well, I had to
just-
set them straight.
Okay, you're giving back your raise?
Yeah,
Okay, well, I'll personally give my raise back,
good,
okay?
good boy, good boy.
Does that sound good?
You're a good boy.
Yeah, that's good. I do have a few more questions, but obviously you're not going to answer them in front of the public,
So
which,
public session is not a back and forth.
Sheila, we've
It's
been
just
going on
people
for years
speak-
with this, and here's the
people
thing.
speak in
Excuse me,
public
yes.
session. It's not a back and forth.
No, but excuse me.
Not
No,
a back-
what's this? Disrespectful. You're the mayor of
Go ahead.
Ansonia, and you
It's
go
not-
ahead and
It's
Go
not a
ahead.
back
go
and
like
forth.
this,
You said
disrespectful.
You had one more thing to say, and now you got more things to say.
Well, no, because
Say 'em.
I'm not going
Hold on. I'm calling a point of order. We're not going to listen to this going back and forth, Mayor. I'm going to actually.
Well, no, I just don't-
No, Harry, we're going to ask you to just refrain from your, we're not going to get any answers to your questions. You can ask, we'll tell you where to go for the answer. We tell you to go to the finance department.
Yeah.
I'm not going to have this going back and forth with the mayor tonight. And Mayor, I'm sorry, respectfully, I'm going to ask you not to engage as well.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, it's just, what I understand, you guys are inconsistent, because in the past, I've asked questions and I gotten answers. And now tonight, all of a sudden, I have questions, you guys can't give me short answers. And I'm sure a lot of residents here would love to hear these answers. The answers to the question. I'm a taxpayer just like everybody else in this room. And I want to know where the money's being spent. And I want to know why projects aren't being done when it's 3 and 4 years later and the projects aren't being done. I mean, you guys should know. And I asked the question, general fund. Mayor Cassetti should know what was in the general fund when he became mayor, and approximately how much is here now.
What's your next question?
Another question? Well, not actually a question. Well, I talked to the mayor a couple months ago about, letting Public Works do some of the work in the city to be less expensive, and that doesn't seem to be working out. I guess you disagree with that. You're here raising taxes, but you want to go ahead. You want to hire outside contractors to do work where the Public Works Department could do the same work and it'd be less expensive. So, I have more. I'll wait till next month. And obviously, this November, my personal opinion, I think it's time for change. Thank you.
Would anyone else from the public wish to speak? Name and address for the record, please.
Dawn Markle on 39 Holbrook Street. I came before you last month requesting a dog park on Holbrook Street. I have a really rough draft of what it could look like. Can I pass them out or have them passed around?
Sure.
And I did talk with Mayor Cassetti about possibly getting some things donated to make the project very inexpensive. A lot of the fencing is already there, and where we would need to put a small parking lot. There's no fence in that area, so it would just be a matter of getting some gravel donated to make it parkable. So I'm not sure how the procedure works or how I get notified on where you are with the project, but I will stay in touch with the mayor going forward to see where we land, if anywhere. Any questions? I think I overheard you ask about a
suggestion is-
subcommittee. I'd be very honored if you would like me to start a committee.
That's a
Absolutely.
suggestion.
Absolutely. Oh, thank you.
Yes, Sheila?
Through you, Mr. President, might make sense to refer it to a land use subcommittee or a land subcommittee of the Board of Aldermen? Same as we do for, if you want to consider a piece of property for sale or anything like that.
We will get back to you.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Would anyone else from the public wish to speak? Ma'am, please come forward. Name and address, please.
My name is Dana Breton. I live at 25 Nolan Road, Ansonia, Connecticut. I just want to say something for the record. I'm very upset that we are raiding the WPCA fund and not putting aside the money for the station that we're still paying on by allowing Pepe to get his payments for the collapsed sewer pipes in town from the WPCA. I feel that it is hiding tax increases because we're going to end up paying more to the WPCA if we raid that fund completely. The last meeting that I was at personally, members of the board were strong-armed into not being able to put away money for the plant that we're still paying for. And I'm extremely concerned. I'm concerned. I'm concerned that our infrastructure is crumbling and that we're not being proactive about it and we're waiting for things to collapse. And now we have to pay these big bills. Where are they supposed to come from? It's against the charter for the WPCA to pay. Mayor's office, who exactly, I think it was, I don't know the name of exactly who okayed the work, but I believe that it came within the mayor's office and not from the WPCA. So I don't understand how they would have to pay for something that they didn't okay and that it's not in the charter for them to pay. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else from the public wish to speak? Would anyone else from the public wish to speak? Third and final call. Would anyone else from the public wish to speak? Hearing none, seeing none, public session is closed. Public official session. Mayor Cassetti, please.
President Vaccaro, members of the Board of Aldermen, Board of Apportionment and Taxation, and residents of the great city of Ansonia. I want to thank all the residents who came out to speak tonight. As always, we value your opinion. This is your city. Last week, I set forth my proposal for the 2019-2020 budget. As you know, the rising costs of insurance and the decrease in state aid, which comes directly to municipalities, has contributed to a lot of the challenges we face here in Ansonia. I will repeat what I said last week, as it bears repeating. Our job is a balancing act. On the one hand, we want to make sure our residents have all the city services they need. But at the same time, we want to make sure our residents are able to afford these services. I have stressed two things repeatedly throughout this administration. One, I have a duty and an obligation to balance the budget. One of the things that our residents, current businesses, and those looking to come to Ansonia cannot afford is unpredictability. The reason for adjustments to our mill rate occur is as a result of trying to stabilize and balance our municipal budget. The city of Ansonia and its residents can ill afford huge fluctuations in their mill rate. unless it's a downward drop. A, I am proud that today we are seeing a mill rate that is lower than when I first took office, and that is the direction we want to continue to move in. And I am also proud of a budget that supports our school system and our city departments. My proposed budget is a responsible budget that does not compromise city services and also plans accordingly for the unforeseen events. 2, I believe that the size of city government has outpaced our residents' ability to afford it. For a number of reasons, 2 of which I already mentioned, rising health care costs and unfunded state mandates that frankly tie the municipalities' hands. What I have been talking about for the last 5.5 years is regionalization. While it is encouraging that Derby has approached us recently to discuss several initiatives that we had proposed early on, it is not enough. As discussed last week, we will need a subcommittee of this Board of Aldermen to work on several collaborations that would combine city services and save money for both Ansonia and Derby residents. I am calling upon Mayor Zekin, President Sampson of the Board of Aldermen to do the same. Meet with our board members and report on the progress. The residents can no longer afford to wait for regionalization. We have to take the initiative and make sure we take the lead. We don't want to be left out. Finally, I have a few items to mention. Please go and check out Colony Park. You will see a total transformation. People are already kayaking. Oops, maybe I gotta wait for you guys to approve the ordinance tonight. There are grills there for cooking, volleyball courts, basketball and recreational trails. Please come out and join us for some family fun. A reminder that this is National Alzheimer Month and that I encourage you to wear your purple. We have adorned our streets and our lights in support of this worthy cause to fight the affliction that many face in the United States and throughout the world. I hope you have checked out the Hub, another recent addition to our restaurant row, and one more will be opening up very shortly. That's all I'm going to say for tonight. So thank you, and God bless the city of Ansonia.
Are there any questions from the Alderman from Mayor Cassetti? Yes, Joe.
Has the budget been published?
Yes, it has.
So it's available to the public,
Yes, that's correct.
all wards?
Yes.
Anybody concerned about it should look at it and approach the aldermen with their concerns.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. Corporation Counsel, John Marini.
Sheila O'Malley.
Oh, Sheila O'Malley? Okay. Sheila O'Malley, you're
Yes.
up.
Sorry, excuse me. Thank you, members of the Board of Aldermen, President Vaccaro, residents. A few things to report. We did have a bid opening for Prindle and Pulaski. Grasso Paving LLC was the apparent low bidder, which did come in quite a bit lower than our engineer's estimate, so that was a very good response we had. We had 2 bidders, and I'll be bringing that bid before you next month, or actually earlier than that, for your approval, so that we can go forward with Prindle. And then we'll get a construction schedule, and we'll get that information out to you on our webpage and our Facebook. So that's Prindle and Pulaski. Community Connectivity, they're working on the design for, which is the Main Street revitalization project, or sidewalk project. Trying to think what else. 2 new roofs were put on, Eagle Hose and Hilltop and Fountain Lake. So those roofing projects were completed. Let's see. I guess that's it for now. I know, I probably have some more, but I think that's it. If anybody has any questions. I'm sure there's plenty more, but
Thanks, Sheila.
Quick,
I'm sparing you.
Quick.
Alderman Stowe.
I just want to, I've been here ever since you've been hired, and we never had the grants that you have gotten us before you were put in place here. And the criticizing that went on was totally uncalled for, where we've advanced with your help. And I just want to... This isn't, I'm
looks
sorry,
like we
this is
planned this,
business,
Charlie,
this
right?
is business-like, this isn't, I don't want to make a political issue of it. That is a fact, what I said, of all the work you've done diligently.
Thank you, I very much appreciate that.
Thank
But
you.
I say this, I've worked in a lot of communities, but this board, through the past 5.5 years, has been very supportive of all the projects and the grants that the mayor and this team has worked on, and so I appreciate your support as well. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
John Marini, please, Corporation Counsel.
Mr. President, and to echo Alderman Stowe's comments, obviously the mill rate could not have been kept level and actually decreased for 5 years if it wasn't for both economic development, increases to the grand list, and also to our administrative staff, finance department, always working very hard to find savings. And to that end, I want to extend a big thank you to two of our unions, our UPSU City Hall union and also to our police union. Mayor had mentioned in his speech health care costs, health insurance costs, and it is very difficult to deal in this market with rising costs, especially for a population like the city. Well, we were faced at the beginning of this budget season, which is one of the main reasons why it's taken a while, with really rising costs from Connecticut. Looked like it was going to be a 22 to 30% increase on the city side, which of course would have been devastating. But working with finance and with our broker, Sinclair Insurance and Joe Pinto, we discovered the ideal option, the state partnership plan, the 2.0 plan that you may have heard a lot about in the news. It is essentially what the state employees get, and rather than representing a 22% increase for the city, it represents a 5% increase. Tremendous cost avoidance. And of course, to the credit not only of the City Hall staff, but also the unions. This was broached in contract negotiations with our police department. Also, it was broached outside of contract negotiations with UPSU. Remember, their contract is not expiring. And both have so far made it work. We're looking for open enrollment on Thursday. UPSU is taking some time for its members to be able to have a vote on that, and that would be early next week. Police are going forward on Thursday, and so it looks like we are going to be realizing that 5% increase versus the 22. And again, that is an example of this city government being extremely flexible, avoiding costs and getting the best results possible for the budget. In terms of legal, tonight you have a voting ordinance in front of you. We have some executive session items. Want to note that Dave Connolly has worked very hard, as well as the rest of the staff, getting that voting ordinance from this board and committee to the police commission and also up to the state for feedback and a potential vote tonight. And other than that, any questions?
Question, Mr. Marini? No? Thank you. Next, Greg Martin, Constituent Services, please.
Thank you. Thank you, President Vaccaro. Good evening, members of the board. I just want to touch upon a couple of points that the mayor did bring up. This Friday at 10:30 a.m. in front of City Hall, the city will kick off its official involvement in support of the Alzheimer awareness with a ceremony there. We've got 35 businesses in downtown that are participating with all kinds of purple awareness, whether it's menu items, dessert items, drink items. That'll be going on for the entire month. And we have several speakers that'll be out there. So if you're in the neighborhood, please stop down and participate. A little follow-up on 8 Stone Park. Last May, we talked about we were about ready to kick off some major improvements down there and progressing very nicely. This past today, Public Works installed 3 new picnic tables. We have 2 more coming in later this week, so we'll have 5 brand new picnic tables. They installed 2 cooking grills. So for the first time probably ever. If anybody wants to go down for a picnic at Colony Park, that is available. We have both parking lots were lined for parking. Basketball court was relined, graphics repainted, the cracks have been filled and repaired. Volleyball court is getting installed this week also. In the next 2 weeks, we have 200 feet of boardwalk that's coming in that'll be going laid around the pond. So there'll be a walking trail that'll be able to go around the pond. The boardwalk will go over some marsh areas. So, and then we also have a hiking trail that's going into the woods as well. We have boat dock installed, pending an ordinance approval. You'll be able to have kayaks, rowboats, and canoes on the park, on the pond. And all of this is going to culminate with a mid-July major celebration event of kind of a reinventing Colony Park, if you will. And that'll hopefully be on the weekend of the 20th. It'll be an all-day event starting at 11 a.m. till dusk. And we're looking forward to a lot of folks coming out and enjoying all the activities at Colony Park. Any questions?
Any questions for Greg? Thanks, Greg.
Okay.
Kim DeStefano, Assistant Controller, you are next.
Good evening, everyone. First of all, the mayor has proposed his budget, so finance is continuing to work with him with whatever information the administration has needed, and that with Bowen and Board of Aldermen to continue to assist with whatever financial information might help you to make the decisions that you're making. Secondly, we were able yesterday to meet with Lisa Jones, who's the business manager over at the Board of Ed. We sat down, we kind of talked about year end, so that we anticipating a much smoother year end this year than we had last year. Kind of reviewing the timing that we need on the finance side, with the Board of Ed side, in terms of accounts receivable and getting their vouchers in so we can get money transferred over by the end of the month, that type of thing. Also spoke a little bit about the software that we're going to need to be choosing. We're kind of talking about maybe we're going to need to make a decision by fall in order to get that implemented by June so that we can kind of run the two systems side by side. So working towards that as well. The new fiscal year will be opening up. It's probably going to be mid-July by the time we have that open because we'll have a few months where we can't issue POs and can't issue checks. We'll do our best to get that up and running as quick as possible so as not to disrupt anything with the vendors or the departments. We're continuing to start working on all the items that we're going to need to start with the audit, which will be coming up soon. And also mostly working with all the departments as we get towards year end, getting all their encumbrances in places, any outstanding orders, just basically going over each of their departments' budgets, basically a lot of general cleanup. All their POs will need to be pulled by next Friday, and then after that anything will come through finance. And in regards to that, last month in May, we had gone to vote and requested some transfers for year-end adjustments. They were good estimates at that point for what we knew was happening out there. A couple of things came in a little bit lower than we had anticipated, so we'd like to return those funds back into the vote contingency. And in turn, we had a few things come up that are additional expenses we hadn't anticipated, including one of our officers retiring, so his sick time and vacation time will need to be paid out. So we've got two requests in front of you. We're hoping that you can take a look at these for us and perhaps approve them, add them to the municipal report from both last month, and then we can get both approval tomorrow night at their meeting. The items need to be paid by the end of June. It's going to be difficult to wait until July to actually have the money transferred. So we're hoping that you can help us out with this, and it would be appreciated.
Thank you, Cam.
Questions?
Any questions? Dan?
I have one if I may. Just concerned about, reconciling the two accounts between the city and the school board. Last year, we ran into a little issue late in the year, not only with the additional $600,000 that was given to the school board. By the time it was closed out, there was another $250,000 that had to be covered that we didn't know about till the last minute after we had already looked on the budget.
We are trying definitely.
How's it looking this year? Do we need to be cautious or allow for changes, or
we have, over the last 3 or 4 months, we have had them reconcile. I send them over our general manager, probably around the second, third of the month. And for the last 3 months, they've been able to reconcile with us. us within a couple $100, which is not bad at all. So I think that's very promising that we are starting to be able to do that. So their ledger is actually off from their vouchers that they've issued. So it's actually an internal problem more than a board of ed. They're in sync with us. All the vouchers they accept matches our side and our ledgers. So that's good. Also, with doing this early meeting with them this week, we're hoping that we'll all be on the same page. Some of what happened last year was they have tuition reimbursements and things like that coming in, and they had to set up accounts receivable and things like that for them. So there was a lot of timing issues. So this year we have dates to get their deposits in, get vouchers in over here, get their encumbrance done, and also their payroll. So I'm hoping that'll go well.
Excellent, thank you.
Okay. Anyone else?
Thanks, Kim. I'd like to ask for a motion to add her reports to the municipal reports. Mr. Short, Mr. Cassetti, second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Chief Coda, please.
Good evening. I'll make this quick, hopefully. Our Memorial Day Parade and the Summer Rocks Reading Festival up at the library went off without a hitch, no issues. We were able to complete those. In the past week or so, maybe 2 weeks, we had a couple of cases. We had the 2 vehicles that had all their wheels stolen off of them on the east side. Funny as it sounds, the cars were jacked up, put on bricks, and the wheels were taken. So we're working on that. We've got some evidence we may be able to process. Another one was a burglary on the west side. Some people entered the house, took a safe and some money that was next to the safe while the house was occupied. So again, been processed. We're working on that for some potential suspects. We've been addressing the speeding issues throughout the town, but mostly North Cliff Street. We've seen that pop up in a couple places. We've got a radar trailer up there, so we've been addressing that as best as we can. Adding to Sheila's, we did have another roof replaced. The animal control facility needed a roof put on, so we were able to replace that. And we've got a company that's going to come out and fix the back side under the soffits and underneath the roof that need to be fixed due to state regulations. So we've had a company come out to look at that. We're preparing to get that fixed and updated within the next 3 to 4 weeks. That will get us closer to that, and then we've got to do some work on the inside to get us in state compliance. Also, we finished up, I'm happy to announce the school year is finished up for us. We spent some time in the high school this year, myself and 4 or 5 officers. We probably went into about a dozen classes, met with all the grades in the high school, spoke to them, and then last week I spoke to the principals over at the middle school. We're going to bring that program over to the middle school next year and reach our 7th and 8th graders for their transition up to the high school. It seems to be working well, getting a lot of feedback. We talk about whatever they want to talk about. Having hard conversations, they have questions, we answer them. But it's working well, great feedback, the teachers love it. We come in, spend an hour and a half in there, and then next week we do another class. So we hope to continue that program as soon as the school year starts up again. And we'll take any questions if you have.
Any questions for Chief Coda?
I got a question. Probably I've had this answered before. But anyway, the boot, when is the boot starting? Started already?
That's out of the tax office.
Okay. So you're not involved in that?
No.
Mr. Rainey? That they started that yet?
I booted someone
Just
You can ask Johanna to give an update at the next meeting.
they actually began the process of they've already started implementation.
Chief, so anything that's been like tagged prior to this starting, then you guys do were in charge of?
As far as tags, what do you mean, red tags?
Well, there's a car that's been on Highland for like a couple months maybe. Okay. Like the grill's on the ground, and there was a tag on it, but it was ripped off, and it's just.
We could look into that. Usually the red tags are a little bit different than what Mr. Stowe was talking about. Those are abandoned, unregistered and such. We'll follow up on it and see why it was a little different. It was brought back, it was towed, and then picked up again. We'll see if we can help you out there.
Easy to find.
Yep.
Thank you.
We'll take care of it.
Mike D'Alessio, Public Works Director.
Thank you, Mr. Vaccaro. I got much for tonight. We'll make it quick. Our bulk finally finished for the season. guys are out now, the grass is growing, curbs are getting grass in them again, and vacations are happening, and I have a few guys on workman's comp, so we're trying to deal with it every day. Doing curbs, potholes, repairs and catch basins right now. Tomorrow we're fixing the one out in Division Street. We finally got the parts to fix that one. That's been out there for about a month and a half, broken, so we're gonna get that one done tomorrow on Division and North Division. That'll be done tomorrow. Parks Department's been out doing the fields. Soccer's going, baseball's going. Graduation, we had to get the field ready for graduations. Now we have Emmett this weekend graduating in our field, so we're getting the fields up for Emmett. Like I said, manhole covers, and we're doing the roadside machine is out. We're getting the roadside done, but we're keeping up. It's not enough. We're just doing our best to keep up with it. That's about it for this. Yes, Mr. Rivers.
Have me and Alderman Clyde
Yeah.
has a problem
Okay.
with the sign that scraped my truck.
What sign?
The sign that's on Grove Street that says neighborhood watch hanging into the street
On Grove?
on Grove. That one and the stop sign at the end of Grove in Howard. Is it Howard, right? Yeah.
What end of Grove Street is it? The sign, because I have a.
Across from the Board of Ed.
That's in front of my house.
Straight up, it's
Yeah.
out to the road. Like
Yes.
There's no parking sign. Is there no parking sign or
Neighborhood watch.
neighborhood watch?
Neighborhood watch, and I think on the top of it is a no parking sign. But it was a truck and my truck going down the same time, and I had to.
Grove
get
and
over
Mary.
it. Yeah, and it.
I was there today. I didn't even see it. I was working on my property right in the corner there. I didn't see it, and I live right there. Well, I don't live right there, but my rental's right there.
I got a picture of it, just so
Yeah, show me that so because I was right there today. I didn't see it. I know
Yeah,
the stop
it's-
sign's leaning a little bit on the corner, but I didn't see the neighborhood watch.
Yeah, that one's hanging out there.
Okay.
I hit it.
I'll grab it tomorrow. You should have grabbed it for me. Okay, that's it. Yes, sir.
Extra recycling bins?
They're coming in this week. I just had to order them. They should be in this sometime this week. Yeah, we were out for about a month. Yeah. Takes about 2 months. Once you order them, takes 2 months for them. I don't know why to ship them, but they're coming and should be there this week.
To piggyback on that, because I was asked this here and I didn't know, what do they do with the old ones that are all cracked up and split? Do they-
People just throw them out. They throw them in the garbage.
They throw them in the garbage?
Yeah, a lot of people do. Or they use them for garbage for a while, but yeah, they crack in the wintertime. It's extreme cold.
Yeah, recycle, I mean, if you put them in recycle.
It's plastic. You can recycle. It's plastic. It's recyclable. So.
Yeah, but I put a tag on them. Well, a constituent, I put a tag on to take this and they won't take it.
I think it got to be disintegrated before they throw it away.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
Mike,
Yes,
that
Joe.
dip that Mr. Masanti was talking about right on the bottom
Yeah.
of the vision, you'll take a look at that.
Yeah, there was a bond on that when they built that place, and for some reason we paid the bond back on it. We're going to take care of it with this new budget this year. We have a contractor ready to go for it, but we're just waiting for the funds. They have to walk down the road. There's two of them, good sized ones. They're going to cut them out and redo it, but yeah, we were aware of it, and I wish we had the bond because the contractor would have been liable for it. But I guess we paid them back after the year, not checking it. But we're going to take care of it. Okay.
When are you going to be doing painting lines for stop signs?
That's usually the middle of summer. Before the kids go back to school, we get the crosswalks ready. We do the crosswalks. Last year we got a head jump on it. So hopefully we can get going on it next month. I want to get it all done before.
Fourth Ward is missing a lot of them.
I know. And they were all done. They just wear out.
The plow takes them with them.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, sometime next month we'll get going on them. We're going to try to do some double yellow lines also this year. I think I might be out there with the machine myself to get it done. Okay.
Charlie.
Yes, Charlie.
We talked about the bill for the WPCA bill, which was mentioned. And I've talked to you and Brian and Richie and I don't know who else. We need to pick a date to review, go over review and finalize that bill.
Yes.
I would suggest maybe we ought to do it Wednesday in the late afternoon. Maybe I can come by after work at 5:30. If you think you can help me get the guys together.
Yes, I don't see why not. Brian has a copy of WPCA, the 2 bills that were left.
Yeah, because Brian said he would do whatever, I talked to him already.
Okay,
So it's
good.
just a matter of getting us all together, and I just was thinking that's the day the engineer is in town.
Well, this
It's
Wednesday or next
Wednesdays.
Wednesday?
All Wednesdays, right? Sheila?
Yeah, every Wednesday. Or he'll make an appointment to come out. If I call Freddie, he'll come out to see us.
Yeah, well,
Just for point of reference, that Fred D'Amico, city engineer, Ryan Capozzi from the WPCA, our finance department all reviewed each and every one of those bills. And so you go through it again. I encourage you to do so, but they did sit down and go through every one of them.
Oh, I know they did. I know Richie had mentioned at one of the I don't know if it was, I think it was WPCA, he mentioned he had some labor issues. He didn't understand the bill. And I personally, when I was looking at the equipment part, there's union rates when unions operators and they have union rates, and that's as high as you get paid. Period. It doesn't matter if you're working in the dark. It doesn't matter if you're working in the snow. It doesn't matter what you're doing. Union rates. That's it. And I looked at the rates he had, and I need to have that clarified. I think we just need to clarify. I think the
We had a
bill's
meeting
fine.
together, Charlie.
Please.
Yeah.
And that has some answer to what you.
We have to remain, there's 2 remaining bills also that need to get paid. We can discuss that when we.
Yeah, well, when we get to WPC, I'll go to the next part of the equation. Thanks.
Okay, Charlie.
I'll be here from you.
Yes, Joe.
Mike, are there any issues with the library, for the library building itself, integrity?
No, I think most of it, there was a couple leaks that we cannot find. We keep looking for them. We had the Georgia roofing out there. It doesn't leak all of a sudden we got a driving rain and it comes in. I'm not sure if it's coming through the windows, but other than a leak here or there, everything is pretty good shape. We just got through repairing the bathrooms, repairing the kitchen, putting new floors in.
Where were the floors put?
Downstairs in their kitchen area. They had a rotted wall we repaired. One of the sinks were broken. We had to put new plumbing in, new sink, new BCT, new cove base, new sheetrock. We did a lot of work up there last month.
All right.
I think we pretty much covered what we had to be doing.
That's great.
There was a couple of things upstairs that we had a skim coat where there was a leak in the old area, but that was taken care of. But there's always stuff that the building's 100 and something years old. There'll be more problems here and there, but we usually jump on them right away.
Thank you, Mike.
Yep.
Thanks, Mike.
Okay.
Question for Mr. Alessio?
Yes, Mr. Tripp.
Just segue off what Alderman Cassetti was asking.
Yeah.
Wasn't there a new boiler put in that building recently? Last
It's
four,
been,
four,
yeah,
5
about,
years?
yes.
So it has a newer boiler in that building?
It
So
does.
There's been a lot of capital improvements made to that building?
Oh, there has been, yes.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Okay, committee reports. Finance Committee, is there a motion to pay all bills that found to be accurate and correct? Right, okay. Let's just take care of this. Mr. Stowe, Finance Committee, is you going to make a motion to pay all bills that found to be accurate? Seconded by Mr. Castellitis. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I'd like to deviate for 1 second. To make a motion to accept late communication number 1.
So
Mr. Castellitis and Mr. Cassetti. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We heard from Public Works. Arms Committee, Mr. Short.
Chairman Blackwell's not here, so I'll report briefly. The month of May, ARMS responded to 263 calls, and the collections for the month was $71,161.24. And Chief Leon's here, I don't know if you have anything to add.
Just over the last couple of weeks, I've done a couple public service things and participated in the parade. A good group of our folks participated with the police department and law enforcement torch run last Friday. And a couple of our guys volunteered over the weekend down in the neighborhood for the Special Olympics, covered EMS for the event. And we sent out Polaris and one of our trucks to help us in lighting and stuff down there for the Special Olympics. I was in support of that, so our guys volunteered. That was a very successful weekend.
Thank you. WPCA committee, Mr. Stowe, anything to report?
Yes, as far as this young woman over here, she had mentioned a few things that she was, made, a couple of errors. The board of the WPCA votes to decide whether a bill gets paid or doesn't get paid, and the board voted for that. The board voted for that. The other thing is that we're having some difficulty there. I'm not going to air too much dirty laundry, but we're having some difficulty there with the chairman thinking that he can not pay bills or pay bills when the board votes. If the board votes unanimously, or if it's 3-2 or whatever, the chairman cannot come in after the fact and say, "Oh, I don't want to pay that bill," even though the vote happened. And that's some of what's going on there. You're in the public. I'm just making a statement because I don't want what was said to go out and have people believe it. That's the only reason I'm answering to this. I would prefer not to. But that's, as far as my report goes, that's enough.
Thank you, Mr. Stowe.
I do have a question. Didn't this board voted to
Pass an ordinance.
pass an ordinance? No. For the chairman, he resigned. It came to this board. We accepted it. Why is he still here?
He didn't write he changed his mind.
We talked about that before. We talked about that, and my legal opinion was that he had not submitted his resignation before the board. He had made statements in public that would lead one to believe he had resigned. I believe he directly informed the Connecticut Post reporter that. However, taking a look at it objectively, he had not submitted his resignation to the board that appointed him. And so it was actually my opinion that he had not technically resigned. And that was, of course, in context of amending the board. And if you remember, there was an objection voiced by the chairman about when the new members would properly take place. And in fact, the board waited to take the vote to make sure enough time had taken place so that the board members were properly paneled. So the meeting that took place where the vote was taken was certainly a legal meeting. I believe even the chairman concedes that everything was done properly. His only objection was, I think it was like a 2-week period, he wanted to wait so that when the vote was taken, the members were properly impaneled. It was a question of when the ordinance went into effect. So without going into more legal detail, essentially the ordinance didn't say it would go into effect right away, so it went to the default law that you wait, I believe, 30 days. So his objection was, wait, the 30 days didn't pass, those members will be members of the board, but you have to wait. And so they postponed that vote.
Okay, but the vote to pay that bill
Was done by the WPCA board when it was properly impaneled.
It was a legal vote, right? Okay.
I need to clear that up. It was doubly legal.
And it was
the first time it was voted on. There was 5 members there, and it was 3-2 to pay the bill. That was before the ordinance was passed. So once right there, it was 3-2.
3-2, it was legal.
That wanted to pay. Then after the ordinance was passed, we had to wait the amount of time,
30 days.
and we had a special meeting, and we all voted except for one member, everyone voted to pay that bill. Now, I wasn't at the last meeting, but now the commit chairman is saying that he's not paying bills, and, you know, there's a mess. There's a mess over there, but you know, we live in a democracy, even here, whether you think so or not. And when a board vote, just like this board, if the majority votes on something I don't like, tough shit from Charlie. It's just that simple. So I'm just, that's what's going on right now. It's sad that it's happening, but it is.
Mr. President?
Yes.
Through the President Board of Aldermen, just a question for Alderman Stowe. I'm just curious if it was ever mentioned, the president of the WPCA, what would be his reasons for not paying that bill, such as he felt that paying that bill would be, through his eyes, would be a violation of the WPCA charter. Mr. Stowe?
Yes, I can answer you, Mr. Tripp, and I would prefer not to go down this rat hole very much longer.
Well, Charlie, you can use all the colorful language you want. I'm asking a simple question.
And I'm going to answer your question. There was a attorney there that was not requested by the board, that was requested by the chairman. There's not only, there's with the Bertha Colina passed I don't know if you call it a judgment or what they feel the rights that the WPCA has and doesn't have. And it's been thrown around back and forth looking at the charter, and it never's been resolved until we passed that ordinance. It's never been resolved, and every year I've asked for it to be resolved. I've asked for the charter revision, whatever. It finally came to a head, and Mr. Nunzio has been said many times in public at those meetings how he hates the mayor, and if there's anything he can do to hurt the mayor, he'd be glad to do it. So, I mean, that's what's going on here right now.
Mr. President, the situation, I mean, again, to be objective, the situation is relatively straightforward. There's been a past practice going back decades and decades that the WPCA, Public Works does repairs to the lines, it's reimbursed by WPCA. At one time, Public Works was WPCA. They were the same unit. And even when they started to separate, they were controlled by Public Works. And so what we basically have is a vestige, right? We have a piece of the charter that simply hasn't been updated that approaches it as if they were still the same. And so when you're taking a look at paying for repairs to a WPCA line, it does make sense to follow past practice and that it's eligible for reimbursement from the WPCA budget, the fees of which are collected partly to take care of the WPCA apparatus and property. However, of course, there is that remnant of the charter that just was never updated when they were separated, and this is really the first time that either side has said, hey, look, maybe there isn't an obligation to pay. A charter revision would certainly be helpful to clarify, but in the meantime, the practical sense of governing, past practice is a good guide to what their real intention was here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Passetti?
Would it be possible to disband this President WPCA and then reestablish another one?
I couldn't answer that for you.
Next month.
John?
Of course, it's possible this has been created by ordinance. However, I thought that this was sort of handled by the ordinance committee and this board in deciding that the better way to go about it was simply to make sure that there's equal representation from the city side and the WPCA side so that the two sides could work together, as they always had done in the past, to repair the relationship rather than simply throwing out a board, you know, to make things different.
I think it's time.
And I thought it was a good compromise.
I think it's time to throw the baby out with the bathwater.
I think it's time to flush the topic and move on to Fire Committee. Mr. Short.
And now for something less controversial, right? Most importantly, on behalf of the Fire Commission, I'd like to thank the city and the Fines Department and everyone that was involved in getting the roofs as part of the referendum completed, both of them. So thank you for your work on that. I'm sure there's a lot of happy people. As far as the month, department activity for the month of May 2019, the department responded to 51 calls. highlighted by 16 system faults, 8 motor vehicle assists, 8 structure cooking fires, 6 CO investigations, and 5 miscellaneous public service good intent. So for a total of 51 calls in May. And that's it.
Thank you.
And I have this.
Present. Mr. Alderman, Ordinance Committee?
We had an ordinance meeting in May. Two things on the agenda was one was the voting ordinance, and the other was a discussion about the ongoing discussions of the parking ordinance over in around Griffin Hospital. There's an ordinance tonight for consideration. Two questions though that I did have for Corp Counsel was there was not specified on the ordinance itself an effective date, and I think the second was the out-of-town permit fees. I thought we had decided on 25, so I think it lists in the ordinance 50, but I thought we had decided.
So that, if that's certainly the will of the board, you could shift it to that amount. And in terms of the effective date, that's up to you upon passage. If you'd like to specify an effective date, and I think that would be good given the events that they intend to hold.
Yeah, my question was, do we have an answer on the stickers? Because that was the holdup in the question. What was the order on getting those stickers back, the boat stickers?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be back in time for that event. I don't think it's going to be that quick. So if you're going to approve it with an effective date of, say, next week in time for the event, you have to know that the stickers, that part of the ordinance will not be able to be filled unless we get it. We can always go out there to a print shop and get some temporary stickers to fill the gap. Maybe Dave actually has some copies. Well, they're here already?
No.
Wow.
Wow,
that was
fast.
That was fast. You always assume it's going to grind slow.
But other than that, and then the only other comment I'll make is that since we were talking about the WPCA ordinance, I will just add that at that meeting, discussing that ordinance with the ordinance committee, I mean, it was agreed upon by the members of the WPCA commission that were present that they were in favor of this ordinance and expanding it and having more collaboration between the Public Works Board as well as the WPCA board. So it was done as a sort of a way of getting better communication between the two boards. So that's all I got.
Thank you, Joe. Housing Committee, Mr. Cassetti?
Yeah, no report.
No report. Any other committees, gentlemen? Okay. We have the municipal reports, the boat apportionment, boat recommendations. We need a motion to approve motions 1 and 2. Mr. DeLibero?
Are those other things getting stuffed in there then?
I'm going to add those. And don't things.
On to you.
Is there a second? Mr. Cassetti? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, now regarding the late communication for municipal reports from Kim DeStefano. Any discussion on those, gentlemen? Motion to approve, Mr. Cassetti?
Yes. Refer to vote.
Yes. Pending board approval tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Mr. Rivers, second?
Yeah.
All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Motion carries. Is there a motion to accept the land use report? Mr. Alderman, seconded by anyone? Mr. Dempsey?
Dempsey.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Mr. Castellitis?
Request to accept the tax collector's report and request for refunds in the amount of $6,891.07 if found to be correct.
Mr. Stewart, second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Mr. Castellitis?
Motion to refer all accidents and claims to Corporation Council.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, communications. Communication number 1. This is regarding the Neighborhood Assistance Act. Mr. Rivers?
Make a motion to approve the Nature Center project for the Neighborhood Assistance Program.
Second.
And also submit to the Department of Revenue Services. Is that correct, Sheila?
Correct.
Okay. Any discussion?
Do they submit it directly, or does it go to you, to the city, and then the city submits it on behalf of them, once approved?
Once this board approves, we send it to the Department of Revenue
Yes,
Services.
we do.
They'll say, okay, hopefully, to all our projects, and then we're gonna try to promote them as much as possible. Get it out on our.
But once the organizations submit them through the program, they're done with it as far as having to send it, right?
Yes, they don't need to do anything. The city will do that on their behalf. But they do need, but I encourage everybody to like promote their project as much as possible. Get it out there and spread the word. Because there's a number of really generous companies that we've worked with here in Ansonia and the surrounding communities that would, I'm sure, want to donate.
Okay. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Communication number 2 is the job description for the chief of police. Just make a note that we received it and we'll place that on file. All right.
The police commission is looking for approval.
Oh, they are? Okay.
So they could commence with the hiring process.
Rich? Mr. Cassetti?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Okay. Mr. Yaman, fleet communication number 1.
Make a motion to approve and send to the department.
Okay, is there a second? Mr. Rivers, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. We have no resolutions tonight. We have one resignation, and we'll read it. It's from Kate Wilkins. Dear Mayor Cassetti, I am writing this letter to respectfully resign from the Ansonia Historical Commission effective May 14th, 2019. My family and I are relocating to Bethany, and I will be unable to continue to fulfill my duties. Being on this commission has been a distinct pleasure. Working alongside Chairman Mary Gibson, along with Bart Flaherty, Lo Samarazzi, and Thomas Clifford has been a joy. I am proud of what we have accomplished thus far and have no doubt the commission will continue to be successful. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to serve this great city and help preserve its rich history. I will visit often and will surely miss you all. Respectfully yours, Kate Wilkins. Mr. Yaman?
Motion to accept the resignation and send a letter of thanks.
Thank you. Mr. Rivers, second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. And we have no appointments. We have the ordinance on the county voting. Mr. Talman, please.
I would be asking the board to pass this with the revision that I indicated, which would be a $25 fee for non-residents, and it could be effective upon passage. So I make that motion.
Is there a second? Mr. Filippo. Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. New business? Any new business, gentlemen? We had something on the agenda, but it was taken off, so I'll skip over that, the application for certification from the UI. And we have old business. We have a contract from Auto Repairs Unlimited.
Mr. President, this issue came up at the last 2 meetings, I believe. The last action that we took was for me to sit with counsel for Auto Repairs Unlimited to talk about the sufficiency of the bid. Also, Alderman Castellitis sat in with us for that meeting. They provided us with information of their certifications, provided us with additional documentation, and also an affidavit, which is provided with the documents here tonight. Reviewing the whole bid, the whole package, I can conclude that it does meet the bid requirements, it is sufficient. And to answer that question, which was the core question, does it meet the bid requirements, the bid specifications, that I can give you the legal opinion that yes, it does, given the additional documentation that was provided.
Okay, and that contract, if we pass it, will be effective till June 30th, 2020?
bid specifications, I
Correct.
believe, say
That's
just
correct.
that. In my notes, June 30th, 2020.
Okay. We have a motion to accept and pass this contract. Mr. Castellitis? Mr.
To
Philippolis,
accept
second.
it would be, the proper motion is to accept the bid.
Accept the
Accept all
bid.
the repairs. And if anything, any further input from police?
Have anything at this time? You've been notified by Corporation Counsel
Got it.
that he's in agreement with
Thanks.
the police department.
Okay. Any discussion, gentlemen?
I'll just make one point, is that I do understand that that contract and the bid specs are going to be revised before next year as well, so that's, I just wanted to clarify that, as that's my understanding, that the police commission is looking into revising that, the bid
Yes,
requirements and
these
things like
things
that.
up to date
So
and
when-
get them correct for the next bid, not this current.
Correct, that's my understanding.
Okay.
Any discussion, gentlemen? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Mr. President, also under old business, I want to draw the board's attention to an important date. Building commission, building committee rather, for the new police station is ready for a date to go bid for the project. Obviously, it's a very significant date for us all in the city. Sheila, that date is?
So the bid specs are, Chairman Heon of the building committee informed us that the bid specs should be ready by June 19th. The committee will look it over, send it to this board as well, and so roughly around that time we'll be ready to go out to bid. It'll be approximately a 4-month bid process, 4-week bid process, wow, 4 months. 4-week bid process, bids returning end of July, hope to be awarding in August, and construction renovations beginning in late August, early September.
Great, thank you. Okay, any other old business? No? Okay. Executive session?
Motion to go in executive
Mr.
session.
Castellitis, second by Mr. Grissetti. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? John?
Finance Department and Mayor Staff.
Just the Finance Department and Mayor Staff, please. Thank you. 5 minutes.